What comes to mind when I say Calgary?
Stampede.
Rocky.
Mountains.
And when I say Australia?
Kangaroos.
Travel Down Under, January 2018. Distances are great in this island continent, necessitating lots of air travel. Australia is as big as the USA. Magnificent views of Sydney's harbour flying into the city on Qantas, Australia's national air carrier. On Fraser Island, the largest sand island in the world, we take a flight-seeing trip over the lakes and forests and the magnificent beaches. Notice that this beach acts as the airstrip. Change your mindset when driving in Australia. I think for the next 25K, we're supposed to watch for koalas. See any koalas in these trees, Cliff?
Past a queue.
Are they wedged up there in the branches?
They're up there.
There's
one. There's one.
Oh, you saw it? Oh,
yeah, but I can't stop.
Obey the animal signs. You have to watch for the kangaroos, the wombats, koalas and kangaroos, also the echidnas and the Tasmanian devils, and don't be a bloody idiot and drink and drive. Learn to play trivia games on extended car journeys.
It's against the law to swerve in a bus to miss a kangaroo. You must run over it. Otherwise you put the lives of the people in the bus at risk.
Roo bars protect the SUVs and buses from kangaroo encounters. Drive the golf cart just like we do in Canada. The Indian Pacific Railway links the two oceans bordering Australia. It is an iconic railway journey through Australia's outback. Michael Portillo, host of the BBC show Great Railway Journeys of the World, was doing an episode on our trip. Everyone says "g'day" and calls you a mate. And look at the new Australian phrases we have to learn.
G'day, mate.
No worries. You bloody beauty. Oh, right. All right, no worries, mate. Good on you, cop.
Australia is very famous for using local Aboriginal names in their towns. Boing boing, bong bong, wagga wagga, dunny doo. Now if you know what a dunny is, that's an outdoor toilet. Goolongong, gunu gunu, grong grong, humpty doo. Tom Ugly is another good one.
Try saying the name of this place.
Tiny kangaroo down, sport. Tiny kangaroo down. Tiny kangaroo down, sport. Tiny.
Do you see him bounding along? That's a wild brown kangaroo as found on Kangaroo Island off the coast of Adelaide. These kangaroos in a sanctuary setting at Bonorong in Tasmania give us a memorable wildlife experience. In entering, we're given a bag of kangaroo food, and what a way it was to interact with the kangaroos. A baby marsupial is called a joey and can live in his mother's pouch for many months. Watch how they use their tail to move forward.
Take me, Koa.
He's incredibly strong in the shoulders, got very long claws. He's actually got 2 thumbs and 3 fingers, which makes him an incredibly good climber. Sleep with their eyes open, which makes them a little bit dopey, is because of the eucalyptus they eat is full of toxins. And it's got very low in nutrients and low in energy, so they need to sleep it all off.
As interesting as it is to see koalas in sanctuaries, it is even more captivating to see them in the wild. On Kangaroo Island, we search the treetops, and yes, there they are in their wild and natural state. How many are we at now?
We're at 14.
They have a distinct yellow patch on their chest, and they rub this on the base of the tree, and that indicates to other males that he's in the tree. Keep away, it's my tree. Because they're solitude animals, these ones.
The world's smallest penguins, fairy penguins, after spending the day feeding at sea, they tumble from the waves and waddle up this Tasmanian beach in darkness to feed their young. Kangaroo Island is home to this unique species of sea lion. It's a good place to see the adults fight and frolic.
The big fellas, the dominant males. He's like, you get away from my girls now.
The dingo is the oldest breed of dog in the world and indigenous to Australia, this one on Fraser Island. Wombats are a marsupial that looks like a cross between a bear, a pig, and a gopher.
If you come back in about an hour or more, you will see heaps of wombats everywhere.
These wombats are in Cradle Mountain National Park. Wombats are built for digging, and for that reason their pouch is backwards so that no dirt can enter the pouch, unlike this little kangaroo who has to hide in the pouch while his mother is digging. Nothing feels better than a good scratch on the back. Where are we going, Cliff?
The wombats poo.
Their feces are shaped like ice cubes, so when they mark their territory on stones or branches, the poo doesn't fall off. The echidna has spines like a porcupine, a beak like a bird, a pouch like a kangaroo, and it lays an egg like a reptile. Their babies are called puggles. Saltwater crocodiles called salties are aggressive, known to explode out of the water and attack their prey.
See Crocodile Island. See his head and his nose and then his back coming out of the water.
The crocodile. Look at this, the crocodile. Tasmanian devils have a pouch. They get their name from their scary scream and aggressive behavior. In the wild, many are affected by a dreadful facial tumor disease.
They won't be released. They form part of the insurance population.
Unbelievably, this lady dropped her earring in the enclosure and the warden had to retrieve it. Flying foxes are the largest of all bats. They are fruit bats with a cute fox face. By day, they hang out in trees. They fill the night sky in search of fruit, pollinating vegetation at the same time. The wedge-tailed eagle is the largest bird of prey with a wingspan of 2 meters. The goanna is a kind of lizard that lays its eggs in a termite mound. Larry, the big red lobster, is made of steel and fiberglass and weighs 4 tons. Then there's Rambo the merino and the giant koala. The unique drone sound of the didgeridoo, made from a fallen eucalyptus branch hollowed out by termites, But how do you play it?
Tie a hole at the mouthpiece, key, right? Put your lips on and vibrate your lips. No? Yeah. That's exactly what you do. Okay, she's going to teach you when you get home.
Distinctive Aboriginal art. A day in the Daintree Rainforest to learn about Aboriginal culture.
The main purpose is we show it into the fire, creates a lot of smoke. That smoke is not only smoke to us, this is how we put the protection barrier around yourself. Walk around that fireplace, just let the smoke touch your body.
The Aboriginals were very good at learning to live off the land, hunting for mud crabs. We didn't do so well, and eating bugs.
See the green bit? Just lick it. What's that? Lemon. We just get the nest and we squish it all in water. The water will go milky white in colour, and we just strain it and drink it. How's that?
Oh yeah.
Got that?
I'll have more.
Yeah. Just hang on to his head and then just lick the green. Just have a lick. He squirts a sour lemon at you.
Barramundi fish and chips. Wallaby and barramundi cooked on a hot stone. Tasmanian scallop pie. Kangaroo pie. They're not shrimp, they're prawns. You buy them off the dock and they are crisp, cold, and delicious. A real Australian treat. Picnic lunches served from the backpack that Cliff carried. Cheese, crackers, and Arnott's mint slices. Cliff's Eggs Benedict in our Melbourne apartment. Golf Safari's opening banquet, served on a tramway in Melbourne. Glorious surroundings and equally glorious food. Malaysian food for a group dinner in Darling Harbour, Sydney. Good old Australian beer. Rivalry between Sydney and Melbourne to be Australia's capital resulted in an international competition to design Canberra the capital city, meaning meeting place.
We had another international competition for the building. We've got the land over the top and shows that the land dominates, not the built form in Australia.
Adelaide celebrates its Fringe Festival when buildings like these during the day are transformed into fascinating moving light shows during the evening. Melbourne, the Regent Theatre, and the Australian cult movie classic Priscilla.
Without you by my side, but then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong, and I learned how to get along. So now you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock. I should have made you leave your key. If I'd have known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me. Go on now, go. Walk out the door. Just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt?
Brisbane, with the river curving and curling around the landscape. But don't be too anxious to swim in this river. It's full of bullhead sharks. The Sydney Harbour Bridge, and we're going to climb to the top. Can't you just see us up there? Tickets are $300 each, but first we have to pass the breathalyzer test.
2, 3, 4, 5.
There you go. Bracelets that you might have on. Put them inside your bag. We'll be giving you a locker so you can store everything inside the locker while.
What about false teeth?
Absolutely no way.
Dressed in our onesies, we begin the climb.
All the way from Calgary to the Sydney Harbour Bridge. We did it! Welcome to the Sydney Australia Bridge Climb.
What a great day today.
We're top of the world!
we join the ranks of other celebrities who have climbed the bridge, the Village People, Jordan Spieth and Bill Gates.
Hey guys, this is the Australian Heritage Hotel and I've got the coat of arms pizza here, just with the capsicum side being the kangaroo and the tomato side being the emu.
Special beers here at the Australian Pub. One is the kangaroo piss and the other is emu poo.
The brown shit.
Well done. I'm going to see you guys are eating. Well done. Beautiful.
And next time it will be a night climb. Australian golf is played in meters, so we have to subtract 10% from their distance to play in yards. And a special dress code, no colored socks. Terry brings our men a selection of white socks that must cover their ankles if they want to play at this Australian Masters course.
So the kangaroos at Federal, we have probably around 900 of them. They cause very little trouble except for the bunkers where they tend to dig, so we take relief and drop out of their marks in the bunkers.
The sign says the kangaroos on the golf course are wild animals. Yes, the pro said 900 kangaroos. They're on the tee boxes. They're in the rough.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
They check out the roll on the greens. Jim, don't be so tough on this little kangaroo. He wasn't the reason you had a bad shot. And Alan, you feel much more comfortable with the Rocky Mountain goats than the kangaroos.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Cliff has no fear. He just tells those kangaroos, "Get out of my way!" And they're waiting for us at the end of the round to find out our score. Oh dear, I don't think they're too impressed with us.
And you'll notice it's been bitten by a kangaroo.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
And we're having the margarita and burrito special. Brief discussion on the putting game, and we decided that you never ask how far to the pin, you always ask how far to the fridge.
I get 4 once, and Ashley gets 4 once.
Okay.
Jim gets 7.
Well, you had to be in the leather, not kangaroo tail.
I know. Ace 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, Betsy, sorry. Yeah.
8, 9, 10, Jack.
Wow.
Queen. 3.
Pair of queens already.
Hey, Queen's already.
That's appropriate coming from the UK.
This has got to be a big one.
Jack. It is.
It is.
Don't miscount, you've had a double Coke.
2 6s and 2 2s.
No.
No good.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Yes.
Number 11, Noosa Springs. A birdie.
Oh, that's so good.
Jump for joy at the beauty of Australia's mountain parks. Take heed of these warnings, especially the unstable cliff. Boardwalks and hiking trails around Dove Lake in Cradle Mountain National Park are terrific. Exquisite Wineglass Bay in Freycinet Park. Wonder at the beauty of the sandstone Grampian Mountains with great hikes to awe-inspiring lookouts like this one called Pinnacle. They're called the Blue Mountains because small droplets of oil released from the eucalyptus trees mix with water vapor and sunlight to produce a blue hue. The Three Sisters Rock Formation at Echo Point. Glide between rugged cliffs in a glass-floored gondola.
Welcome to the world's steepest railway.
To calm your fears, listen to Donna.
Instructions are the Ujjayi breath, deep inhalation to the count of 6, hold it for 2, exhale for 8. That will totally calm your mind.
Air does the same thing.
Hold on tight, it is exhilarating. At the bottom, we enter an ancient rainforest with walkways to negotiate the dense and tangled vegetation.
Here's the famous head scratcher. Ah, it feels good.
Only if you're tall enough.
Walk the canopy of the Tamborine Rainforest west of Brisbane to the sound of the cicadas. Ancient towering trees. Can you make the sound of a kookaburra?
The way it starts, the bird or bat will eat the seed, you see? It'll fly up into a tree and the seed will germinate up there in a fork or a hollow in a tree. Over a long period of time, it sends runners down the outside of the tree until they reach the ground. The stranglerfish will kill the host tree. Not as we strangle someone like that. What it does, it goes right around the outside of the host tree, uses up all the moisture, the nutrients the tree would need to survive, and also it covers the host tree and the host tree doesn't get any sunlight. So it literally starves to death. Around the outside is the stranglerfish. So it's only a matter of time, a short amount of time, and the main host tree will die. And it'll be hollow all the way up the top of the chimney.
So that's getting close to the 300 here.
Getting close to it, yeah.
Rainforests require, well, rain. And my, how the rain came down at Port Douglas when we walked through the rainforest there. Towering pines, ancient giant ferns, eucalyptus forests, swamp vegetation, all growing on an island of silica sand. This is Fraser Island. The Great Barrier Reef is one of the 7 wonders of the natural world. From Port Douglas, we head out to snorkel the reef, stopping at 3 places. Get into your stinger suit. It's a onesie, offering protection from head to foot to hand because it's box jellyfish season. If jellyfish tentacles touch the suit, it doesn't perceive it to be a person wearing it or even a marine creature, and that keeps you safe. We have ample time to explore, enjoying the colorful coral and the fish, but we do note that there is definitely coral bleaching and a deterioration of the reef. With over 10,000 beaches in the country, Australia has a prominent beach culture. To create a safe environment, surf life-saving clubs, there's 300 of them, provide volunteer surf life-saving services, water safety, and aim to make all Australians better in their communities. Bondi Beach, and here come the surfers. Gus does his magic camera trick here at Sydney's iconic beach. It's a delightful half-hour ferry ride to Manly Beach through the harbour pleasure boat traffic. The surf clubs have an elimination race. How fast can you run through the sand and get the post? Bring the rescue boats to shore, each boat representing a club. And here is the magnificent Gold Coast, 70 miles of white sand and high-rise building accommodation. We stay in the happening town of Surfers Paradise, staying in Peppers, this tall building that gives us extraordinary views up and down the coast. One night, Mother Nature gives us a light show, and another day, birds come onto the balcony. Surfing is to Australia what hockey is to Canada, as both young and old try to ride the waves. Playing in the waves and body surfing is an absolute delight. To be safe, be sure to swim only between the flags. Light up the octopi and go for an evening stroll. We stay at the Kingfisher Resort on Fraser Island. Lake Mackenzie contains only rainwater. Sand and organic matter prevent the rainwater from draining away. The sand is pure white silica, feels beautifully soft to the touch, and keeps the water clean and pure. Fraser Island is home to the Great Beach Drive. It's a designated highway. No traffic lights, just endless coastline vistas for 75 miles. The Heno was driven ashore during a cyclone in 1935. The hull slowly deteriorates in this harsh salt environment. Sunshine Beach at Noosa Heads. The Australian beaches are just nothing can compare to the beauty and the fun you can have on these beaches. The beach at Port Douglas, where a barrier prevents the presence of jellyfish. Should you encounter one of these marine stingers, then douse your skin with vinegar. Then there's this unique beach in Tasmania. The Great Ocean Road was built by returning soldiers from World War I. It's 200 kilometers of rugged beauty along the Antarctic Ocean. It's called the Shipwreck Coast, upwards of perhaps 700 wrecks, the most famous of which is the Loch Ard. A light and sound show at Warrnambool highlights the final journey of the clipper ship Loch Ard in 1848, when, carrying passengers between Liverpool and Melbourne, it crashed into Muttonbird Island. 54 lives lost and 2 survivors, Tom, who saved Eva. The press at the time wanted them to be romantically involved, but instead they went their separate ways. Get ready for it, the highlight of the Great Ocean Road, the 12 Apostles. Well, there actually aren't 12, there's only 8, because erosion has eaten away at these limestone sea stacks. Jump for joy because they are truly extraordinary. Ride a sheep or a torpedo on a camouflage catamaran to Mona, the Museum of Old and New Art, billionaire David Walsh's private collection of weird and bizarre art. Enter through the subterranean bar and view the words created in a waterfall, connected to a computer with words from the latest news. Follow artist-inspired stairways to 3 levels of art worth $2 billion and be prepared to accept a new concept of what art really is. Mona is extraordinary and well worth a trip to Hobart just to see it. As you view the exhibition, you become a part of the art pieces yourself. Feeding the human digestive system, living art, and pooping at the end. Yes, really. This and the living art exhibition, The Man with the Tattooed Back, attract lots of attention. Make no mistake about it, Australia is one of the world powers of wine. Fresh, fruity, red and white wines, consistent in quality.
Here in the Barossa Valley in South Australia, we do have a lot of problems with kangaroos coming into the vines. They eat basically anything. They mainly feed on green grass, but if the grass is very dry, they will eat the green leaves on the vines.
The country has over 2,000 wineries, many small, family-owned companies. The #1 grape for wine is Shiraz, followed by Cabernet Sauvignon, Chardonnay, Merlot, and Semillon. We visit wineries in the Hunter Valley and South Australia's Barossa Valley. Chandon, sparkling wine from France, has opened an Australia operation with much success.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And now for some quirky things you could find only in Australia. Decorated kangaroo-proof mailboxes made from assorted junk. Outdoor movie theater, where we reserve our own seats and watch an evening movie on a screen rising up out of the water. The lights of the Sydney Harbour are in the background. Ned Kelly, a notorious gang leader, robber, and killer, now a famous folklore figure. He's known for wearing bulletproof armor made from plow parts. Police shot him in the legs, and he later hanged. Yes, guided kangaroo tours on the golf course. Dog on a tucker box. This dog guarded his master's food box. The master died on a river crossing, but legend has it that the dog continued to guard the box until its death. A plane and a car sharing the same beach road. A traffic-stopping inland submarine memorial to a brave man from Holbrook, Australia. A highway sign showing a distance of 1675 kilometers. A former prison for the worst convicts as a tourist attraction. A town in Tasmania that features topiaries along its main street.
Gus, what is skiing? Spending. Kids. Income.
Take two.
Okay. Spending. Kids. Inheritance. Yay!
They quit their jobs, sold their house, and homeschooled their kids.
Gemma, this is Andy,
G'day.
and Finn, and Noah. Been travelling around Australia for the last 14 months.
How better to describe Australia than this poem?
I love a sunburned country, a land of sweeping plains, of ragged mountain ranges, of droughts and flooding rains. I love her far horizons, I love her jewel sea, her beauty and her terror, the wide brown land for me.
Australians sure know how to celebrate their National Day in style. In Sydney, the activity centers around the Opera House and Harbour, with a parade of watercraft, everything from catamarans to sailboats. Tall ships with their sails in full array. Even a flyby by the Qantas Dreamliner. What a spectacle. What if it could have flown underneath the bridge? Gear up in your Australian flag duds and parade around in your finest outfits. Party away the afternoon in the Rocks section of Sydney, where the bands are playing, the dancing is in full swing, and everybody is enjoying a special libation to celebrate the day.
Aussie Day, let's do it. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Alright, fantastic.
The Brunsmas host an extraordinary harbour cruise and dinner aboard the Captain Cook yacht to celebrate Australia Day in the finest fashion. And now the grand finale. Nobody does fireworks better than the Australians in Sydney Harbour.
I realize something I've always known. I still call Australia, but no matter how far behind I roam, I still call Australia. I still call Australia. I still call Australia.
Oh, yes!